Don't worry, don't worry, I'm not going to sing and I'm not going to dance. But you might need to worry a little bit because I am going to talk. Dawn, first of all, thank you for that introduction. I certainly do appreciate that. And my thanks to all of you for honoring our city with your presence here today. Can you imagine what our ancestors who fought in the Battle of Great Bridge 245 years ago would think if they could see Alexander Hamilton telling his story in a rap song? Can you imagine? You know, many of them may actually have known Mr. Hamilton, but I doubt any, including Mr. Hamilton himself, would have ever anticipated such a tribute as this. And to be honest, if you had asked me last year at last year's State of the City's luncheon, if I would have even attempted or attended a musical like this, I probably would have laughed at that suggestion. But yet, as I listened to those lyrics, I could not help but to be reminded that while the way we tell the history of our country may change, the story itself remains the same. The language that we use may be different and even hard for some of us like me to understand, but the principles resonate and speak to every generation with a clarity that surpasses mere words. So if you have not seen this Broadway musical Hamilton, the colonists had just defeated Cornwallis at Yorktown, and they're celebrating in a song. They're saying, "We will rise up and we will not throw away our shot." And when you see Hamilton and you hear these lyrics, you cannot help but to feel the pride at being part of a country that holds its founding principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness so dear as to term them inalienable rights given by our Creator. We can all be inspired by the brave men and women who fought for those freedoms and gave so much to changing the world. Ordinary people willing to rise up and refusing not to throw away their shot. And like me, I trust that you are proud to live in an ever-changing, diverse country bound together in time and enduring principles and beliefs that can be understood by any language, from the Old English of 1776 to the modern techno-speak of 2020. To truly understand the state of our city today, you must understand the history that brought us to this time and to this place. We know that Chesapeake's distant forefathers and mothers played a part in bringing Hamilton and Washington and Cornwallis and the rest right there to that surrender of Yorktown, starting right here at the Battle of Great Bridge. You know, it took energy, it took commitment and vision to make that happen. Just as it takes those same qualities almost 190 years later when the city of Chesapeake was formed out of the merger of Norfolk County and the city of South Norfolk. Our story, you see, is one of people determined to make things better and never throw away their shot. And so I am very pleased to be joined here today by some very special people or members of families who have been instrumental in bringing Chesapeake to where it is today. I would like to recognize them and ask them to stand and remain standing, but please, I'd ask you all to hold your applause until I finish with this distinguished list. Dr. E. Curtis Alexander, Peggy Bagley, Margie Blevins, Judge Richard Bray, Judge Robert Carter, Ray Connor, LaBarbara Cuffey, Congressman and Mrs. Randy Forbes, Jimmy Fry, Barbara Hardy, Adam Harrell, William Harrell, Cecil Jenkins, Jimmy and Garnet Lane, Patty Lawrence, Lil Oman, Bob and Cindy Oman, Rosa and Hugo Owens Jr., Rose Marie Ward, and Patty Whitehurst. These folks are just a sample of some of the citizens over the years who have chosen to rise up and not throw away their shot. Thank you. When I think about today's Chesapeake and how we've come from a population of about 60,000 people in 1963 to being the second largest city in the Commonwealth in 2020, the second largest, I realize just how much trust people have placed in this community and its leaders. And it's a daunting responsibility, and one that I and members of my council colleagues never take lightly. Because trust is the foundation in which Chesapeake was built. And trust is the greatest tool that we have to build tomorrow. You see that trust manifested in many ways around our city. You see it when the parents send their children off each morning to one of our 46 schools. By the way, 100% are fully accredited. You see that trust when parents that want their kids to be safe, and we're working very, very hard to keep that trust. We have a school city safety task force that has been working for over a year, meets every month to ensure that our buildings are safe. Parents trust their kids. They will have an appropriate place to learn, and we are equally committed to that goal. A comprehensive study is underway right now looking at our school facility needs for today and tomorrow. And parents trust that we will have excellent teachers, providing opportunities to learn, to grow, and explore paths leading to colleges, the trades, the arts, the military, or wherever the students' hearts take them. Tens of thousands of students enter our schools every day, and not a single one of them wants to throw away their shot. So it's our job to ensure that they can indeed rise up to their potential. The 9 members of the school board must rise to be the keepers of that trust and the champions leading the charge for educational excellence. I consider all 9 of these folks to be more than just our colleagues. They are my friends. But more importantly, they are the key authors in writing Chesapeake's story. I would like to ask the members of the school board and all those who work for the Chesapeake school system to stand and be recognized for the vital work that they do each and every day. The City Council and the school board are both made up of 9 distinct individuals, each with their own backgrounds, their ideas and perspectives. And while people joke that getting 9 people together to agree is like herding cats, you'd be amazed of how often we come together, particularly when it's for the greater good of our city. Our work is built upon the desire to seek consensus when we can, to foster compromise when we must, and to always strive to preserve and enhance the high quality of life that our citizens have come to expect here in Chesapeake. Now, that might sound like an easy task to you, but when the opinions are strong and the emotions are running high, it can be quite a challenge. But somehow we find a way to come together and rise up and not throw away our shot. And I would like to ask the members of the City Council, all of whom I am so proud to work with, to please rise and be recognized for your outstanding efforts to help our citizens take their best shot at a brighter future. You know, people naturally choose the communities they want to call home by the quality of life they find there. Residents want a place where they can feel safe and where there's ample opportunity to work, to play, to learn, to grow, to worship, to give back, and to generally enjoy those inalienable rights. Chesapeake prides itself in being just such a community. And that, quite simply, is why people choose to come here and stay here. This is why we will continue to rise up, setting the bar ever higher on the standards we as a community want for our great city. Residents want their city and their homes to be a safe place, and that is the trust our public safety department's earned every day. We are so blessed to have a police department whose brave men and women never give up for the fight of justice. A good example of this was when we recently learned that an arrest had been made in an almost 2-decade-old case. The death of an infant known as Baby Daniel. Sadly, this young man, or this young boy, who would never see 17 years old, never got a shot at life. But through the determined efforts of Detective Vernon Ryder and retired Detective Thomas Downing, justice will be finally served. Having said that, policing in Chesapeake is about much more than just arresting criminals. It is also about building trust and putting back into the community through programs like Serve the City. Under the leadership of Pastor John Hildebrand, volunteers from the faith-based community, police officers like Major Tracy Branch, and others who give their time to conduct home renovations for those in need, giving them a shot to rise towards a better life. All of this would not be possible without the backing and support of our police chief, Kelvin Wright, a leader, literally, who never wastes his shot. And speaking of not throwing away a shot, under the capable leadership of Chief Ed Elliott, our fire department is equally dedicated to meeting the city's evolving needs. With innovative programs like the Mobile Integrated Healthcare System that began operation just last month. Chief Elliott is also looking towards the future as work continues to replace 3 of our oldest fire stations with modern, efficient, and functioning new buildings. The St. Bride's, Deep Creek, Bowers Hill areas will be served by these new facilities. The Sheriff's Office makes up the 3rd leg of our public safety triangle, ensuring that the jail is secure, that those incarcerated get fair, appropriate treatment, and that everyone who comes to Chesapeake Court has a safe and secure place to have their say and to receive justice. Sheriff Jim O'Sullivan also, as I'm sure you already know, contributes heavily to the quality of life for those on both ends of the age spectrum in our city. From the Children Today, Leaders Tomorrow program to a long-running, much-anticipated senior support seminar, Sheriff O'Sullivan and his leaders team are building trust on many fronts 7 days a week. So let me now ask the sheriff, the police, and the fire chiefs, along with anyone who works in the public safety, to please stand and receive our heartfelt thanks for protecting and serving Chesapeake citizens. Quality of life, though, is not just about feeling safe. It's about trusting the little things, which generally aren't so little when you take a little deeper look. You're trusting that that we will be readily available day in and day out, week in and week out. Things like knowing you will get clean water when you turn on the tap, or that when you put the trash out, it will be taken away quickly. Things like being able to easily visit a park where your kids can play, or a library with so many new and innovative learning tools. And it is knowing that if you need help, there are caring, committed people available with the resources and the support you need to weather any storm. And all of those things create a desirable quality of life, as does a city with a diverse and growing financial base, a stable tax rate, and bond rates that top the scales. Chesapeake has all of these and more, thanks to the financial management strategy that looks constantly towards a long, stable, and strategic spending. And it takes a visionary leader to bring all of these dedicated people together. And that is just who we found when the City Council appointed Mr. Christopher Price as our Chesapeake's new city manager. Mr. Price, I suspect, admit that he has taken on a massive task. But I can tell you that he is already earning the trust of both his staff and the community through his open, engaged, and city-focused leadership. The city manager and his team are embarking on a process to help city refine and sharpen its vision and goals for the future. Chris assures me that he's not looking to scrap everything from our past, but rather he wants to examine and reinforce and refocus the lens through which we see ourselves, and then to use that to shape Chesapeake's tomorrow. And I am confident that Chris will be counted among those who have risen and who will not throw away his shot. I would now ask that the city manager, along with the department heads and city staff members here today, to please stand and be recognized for all you do for our great city. You know, I constantly hear people talk about how much they love Chesapeake. In fact, researchers from Old Dominion University, as part of an annual survey in Hampton Roads, confirmed that our city residents rated their overall quality of life as the highest in the region. Indeed, it is that quality that continues to make Chesapeake so attractive to businesses. So I want you just to consider these numbers in the past year. Capital investment rose by more than $270 million. And that is about a 12% increase. 455 new businesses joined the Chesapeake community. And they and our existing firms added almost 1,700 new jobs. The bottom line is, Chesapeake is growing and thriving, and we will not throw away our shot. It would take me until next year's State of the City to tell you about every great Chesapeake business and the good work that they do both professionally and in the community. But indulge me for just a few minutes as I highlight several firms who have risen above the crowd, starting with family-owned and operated Duluth Train, which is celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. Located in the Deep Creek Cavalier Industrial Park and led by Clint and Phil DeMuth, the company sets a culture of giving back, providing opportunities for their employees to be involved in a variety of outreach programs every year. It is this philanthropic dedication is why DeMuth Train is consistently named one of the best places to work in Virginia. In South Norfolk, Four Kids is well on its way to completing a brand new headquarters on Poindexter Street. They will be consolidating 5 area locations and 100 employees into one state-of-the-art facility with unique features such as an education facility for children and research and advocacy center. This is exciting news for the revitalization of South Norfolk, and I want to thank Thaler McCormick for choosing Chesapeake. In Great Bridge, veteran-owned Pale Horse Coffee took its shot last year. Being one of Chesapeake's only coffee roasteries, we're honored to have owners Christopher Walton, Donald Wingard, Gary Livingston, Michael Vecchion as part of the Chesapeake's businesses, and we want to thank them for their combined 93 years of military service to this country. Western Branch will be an epicenter for some very exciting things in the near future, thanks to the Coda Reedy's Company. We expect to be joining them very soon in announcing some major additions along the Portsmouth Boulevard corridor, creating many new jobs. In addition to the efforts he's done at the Chesapeake Square Mall and surrounding areas, Pete Coterides and some of his management teams are here with us today, and I want to publicly thank them for their efforts in growing this important part of our city. Just this past month, it was announced by smartassets.com that Chesapeake is rated one of the best cities in America for women in the tech industry. And what a better company to highlight this accolade than the woman and veteran-owned RFK Solutions, Chesapeake's 2019 Business of the Year. Located in the Western Branch area, RFK Solutions is dedicated to ensuring and preparing a workforce for the future, hosting a free cyber academy every summer that teaches our children how to combat and protect against online threats. And as we are enjoying our lunch right here, you may have seen on your phones or read some way, we all get instant news, Governor Ralph Northam has just announced an awesome new project coming soon on the Chesapeake waterfront. Total Fiber Recovery is investing $49 million in a new paper recycling operation that will process 300,000 tons of mixed paper each year. This project will bring 68 new jobs, but more importantly than that, it helps to highlight Chesapeake's support for the need to reuse and to recycle resources. And we're honored to have Doug Fuller with us today representing Total Fiber Recovery. Of course, no list of businesses making a difference to our city would be complete without mentioning Priority Auto Group and their dynamic CEO, Dennis Elmer. Dennis is a man who has never been afraid to take his best shot, and he certainly has hit the mark to benefit Chesapeake and all of Hampton Roads. From their support to the Charity Bowl and his generosity with our animal service adoption programs, Priority Auto really is much more than cars and trucks. And to be honest, Chesapeake is overflowing with business leaders who have committed to their community as a whole, rising up above the economic bottom line. People like Dan Bannister, Charlie Hackworth, Joe and Vicky Josu, Susie Kelly, and so many more. They are giving us all their best every day. It's leaders like these and dozens more who have helped create a brand new Chesapeake Forum. If you attended their first event with the journalist Jane Pauley, you would know the caliber of interesting speakers that the forum is targeting. And next week, Dr. Mae Jemison, the first woman of color to go into space and a scientific innovator, will be right here in this building to share her story. So if you don't have tickets, I'd encourage you to hurry, because it's sure to be an amazing look at someone who has literally risen above the earthly boundaries. I would now ask all the leaders that I just mentioned to please stand and accept our thanks for helping Chesapeake rise up and never throwing away our shot. Pete, I really want to tell you how much I appreciate what you are doing and how you are doing it. And Thaler, thank you again, always. You know, we're excited to be a part of the Hampton Roads 757 region, where people are rising up and people are taking their best shots. And when my mayor colleagues report on their state of their prospective cities later this year, I will be there cheering them on, just as I know they are here today and in person and in spirit. But it will take that type of cooperative spirit and even more to take Hampton Roads to the next level. We must be more competitive with other thriving regions in the other parts of the country. And that will take political, business, and community leaders rising up and not throwing away our shot. Clearly, it will take all of us coming together as we raise the quality of life for all of Hampton Roads. I think we can all agree that Chesapeake is not about to throw away its shot. You find it all over the city, from the boardrooms to the classrooms, from the manufacturing lines to the grocery store lines, from Indian River to Hickory, to Deep Creek, and everywhere in between. Chesapeake citizens are excited about our future. We realize that our future is about opportunity, and with that opportunity is a sense of excitement in the air in Chesapeake. We know we have challenges ahead, and we know we're going to have some tough decisions to consider. Challenges and choices aren't new things to Chesapeake. Overcoming those challenges and making good decisions help us become the great city we are today. And one of the things that makes Chesapeake, if not unique, at least different from other cities, is not the challenges that we face, but is how we face those challenges. There will always be voices that try to divide us. Those who find the clouds even on the sunniest of days. There will always be those who trust no one, not even themselves. Their voices may at times seem shrill, but we will not allow them to write our story. We will not allow them to throw away our shot. Chesapeake has a shot to make 2020 the greatest year ever. Clearly, that is going to take a lot of work from a lot of people. The greatest year ever is indeed a lofty goal, especially when you consider how great the past 57 years have been. But we are poised for that greatness. We've got the people, we've got the skills, the knowledge, and the passion to achieve that goal and more. The exciting thing about living and working and raising a family in our community is the fact that whether you use a tablet, an iPad, a laptop, a pen, or even a chalkboard to write your own story, that story becomes the part of the story that we call Chesapeake. And I am confident if we continue to trust each other, our story will continue to be a great one. I want to thank you again for being here today, and remember, never throw away your shots.